Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Defense of the Patients. I am your host, Cyphus. I'm sitting here with my co-host, Roland.
Literally sitting here with me. Hello.
That's right, yeah. Last week was weird. I got to feel what everybody must feel like when they do interviews with us on the show. Or like what Flub and Proud and Ursi must experience every time they record.
What was weird last week?
I was at my house.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I actually felt like our dynamic didn't change at all.
I felt honestly, a little disconnected.
I felt more respect on walking. Like, I understand that I walk over.
Sure.
You know,
yeah,
I'm going to be, you guys already know this. But when you're not here, it was easier for me to be like, okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to wait for Cyphus.
Sure.
To go. And then I'm going to talk when he finishes. I felt like I was almost like more respectful in that regard.
I don't know. I leave that.
I thought it was fun because I probably looked like a crazy person if anybody would have come in because I was just looking straight at a screen and just laughing and talk like, oh my god, he's talking to himself with headphones on into this computer. Who knows what's happening? But no, yeah, that was a good show. I forgot it. I didn't even realize that you were recording it from home. I guess now that I think about it.
And I mean, you could definitely tell the audio too.
The audio was. I did a lot of doctoring. A lot of juice advice, or Tom, the engineer, advice to get you to sound as good as possible. But you're using like a Logitech headset mic that is shitty for recording.
But yeah, it was
last week.
You know, it was interesting. It was interesting. I'll say that to be on the other end.
God, I don't even remember what we talked about. That felt like, dude, days have become longer.
Yeah, it's also hard to remember. I found myself like having this trouble last week and trying to remember because the conversation, like, you know, you and I still talk about Dota when we're not on the mic, right? Obviously. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we even, we get into build discussions, all sorts of shit.
It always goes back to Coddle, in my opinion, where like, whenever we talk about Dota, I'm like, this hero that needs mana, we need Coddle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I don't want to play Coddle anymore with that. Well, I mean, I will still play him.
Time. With all with Timbersaw being indirectly buffed by all these heroes that were good against him being nerfed.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing Coddle. And
because he is still the better of the counters against Timber. You just have to prioritize that mana leak. And honestly, in some ways, I got
beat by a good Coddle. A Coddle that prioritize mana leak way more than Illuminate, which, let's be honest, Illuminate's a great high ground ability. Illuminate's a great push ability.
Yeah.
But it's horrible for carries when you get a Coddle that's like, look, I can kill a whole creep wave. Check this out, Spectre. And you're like, goddamn Coddle, put your Illuminate gun away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I've been seeing a lot more Coddles that do like a 1-3-2 or something, or like a 1-2-2. Or something like that, a 1-2-2-1 or something.
I actually would like to try Coddle Spectre sometime because I think that global, and
I can always come back. You can give me mana right before I haunt, so I can dagger probably twice.
I was gonna say when I have ult up, if you have to haunt in and snag a kill, and we want to come back and push that lane,
you just start it the second I haunt in. So you hit your ult, I hit my ult, you start it on me right away, or when I've secured the kill. I
don't want to start it on you though because
if I get hit, it'll get canceled. So after I get the kill, I just dagger in the woods. You started on me, I'm back to farming again.
In fact, you may not even need to carry a TP at that point.
And if you chakra me, if you ult, chakra me, I haunt, I use my dagger, then my dagger is coming up that much sooner again.
Yeah,
in case I need a second dagger to secure the kill, a second spectral dagger, because you're going to take time off the cooldown.
So if we could get it down,
pretty fucking
could
cool.
get it down to
Welcome
a
to Theorycraft Mondays, where we are way better than Theorycraft Thursdays.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, Coddle Spectre. No, I'm seeing a lot of the same things. The one thing that I did notice that was tremendous, and I read the patch notes, and I knew Shadow Demon got nerfed, but I didn't realize it until playing him that his Shadow Poison level 1 is nothing in comparison to what it was. I'm getting 5 stacks on an offlane Slardar and like, all right, I'm gonna pop that and he's gonna die. And I see like literally a hair's sliver come off of him with 5 stacks. And it's like my whole mana pool to get that many stacks of Shadow Poison. It's not even called Shadow Poison. I think it might be called Shadow
it's Shadow Poison.
Okay. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And I remember like 5 stacks meant a lot more just 2 weeks ago than they do now. So
I remember. I mean, I remember killing people with big stacks of Shadow Poison because, like, having probably the first time I played Shadow Demon was against an offlane Axe who had no respect for the Shadow Poison. Like, clearly, you know,
he
at
saw
our
the
level,
number above his head and was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's like,
4 doesn't mean anything.
You've hit me 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had no respect for the Shadow Poison, and he just basically ignored it. Like, it wasn't there, like it didn't happen. And got to about half health, and I let those stacks go, and he was a goner.
Yeah. I picked Shadow Demon, was super stoked, and realized, and I was up against an Omni, and the Omni tipped me at the end, which is like the ultimate fuck you. But I found it, Shadow Demon's definitely a great response pick to Omni Knight. It was especially great when Omni would hit his ult, and Demonic Purge only has like a 50-second cooldown. So pretty much every time Omni ults, it's probably up. And that way I can be like, all right, big carry who is now physical damage immune, no longer. And you're going to take 300 damage or whatever in 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So although I lost, and that's just because I'm honestly just a really inexperienced Shadow Demon. Although I lost that game convincingly, and the Omni was like, you suck so bad, I'm gonna tip you, because I died like 17 times or something like that. It was a horrible game, but I did realize, holy shit, like, you want to bring Omni Knight's win rate down, let's get acquainted with Shadow Demon, guys. Like, let's start picking Shadow Demon, because
people have been preaching that though forever. It's why I, like, one of the reasons that I started playing the Shadow Demon initially. That, and I mean, admittedly, seeing, you know, those fucking illusion strats at TI was really what inspired it. Because I'll never forget the game where Wazoo and I paired up as Shadow Demon Drow and just devastated a pub.
Well,
just wrecked them.
I mean, there's a lot of synergy there because you can disrupt Drow, and then Drow can be in a safe place while those illusions are doing a shitload of damage from low ground. Who cares if they miss?
We were just sending 4 illusions on every tower and then just backing up and letting him farm camps and letting him escape safely.
It's like
or
dual
just putting
objectives
pressure down.
at once. He can farm and do an objective at the same time with the help of Shadow Demon. So I always thought Shadow Demon was just this garbage hero that nobody picks, and there's a really good reason why nobody picks. And it's not until really TI6 that opened my eyes big time with the anti-mage Shadow Demon, which is what they're using, which I don't even think is the best combo for Shadow Demon. But, you know, anti-mage gets Manta. Any hero that gets Manta, Shadow Demon's especially good with.
The most sickening combo that I keep
Kunkka
seeing...
Shadow Demon anti-mage was the sickest, because what would happen is Shadow Demon would disrupt the anti-mage. Anti-mage would then get X marks by Kunkka, blink in, hit his Manta, blink into the tier 3, hit his Manta, and then all of a sudden 4 illusions are hitting that tower, and anti-mage is safely back.
So even more sickening than that, and I'm sure we saw it at TI, but I've started to see it in pubs, is the Luna Manta Shadow Demon combo.
Oof.
Where you've got Luna up there with max glaives.
Oh my god.
And it's just bouncing around.
You know what?
Wrecking creep waves.
I wanna do a little shout out to my main frog. I love the fact that Luna's glaives don't bounce off the tier 3 onto the racks. And it's obvious because the tier 3 has to fall before the racks are susceptible. But imagine if, you know, or they bounce around. I guess now that I'm saying it, it's like, of course they don't bounce onto the racks because the tier 3 needs to fall before those racks are susceptible. But when you get that tower down and your glaives are bouncing in between all the wells, and it's insane. And I've been
imagine that with some Shadow Demon and Manta illusions, you know, and I'm sure we've seen it, and I'm sure I'm forgetting.
Well, I'm sure
plenty of pro options.
AG and ZD already went over it, you know, well before we knew about it.
Well,
and they're not, you know.
I'm sure the Theory Crafters have talked about it at some point because I know and Ursi, you know, is one of the people who had initially, you know, told me like, yeah, you should learn Shadow Demon. But enough about Shadow Demon. I want to tell you about like the worst couples moment I had playing with Grandma Ralph earlier this weekend.
Something I haven't heard about?
Yeah.
Really?
She has been playing Dazzle
I thought Wraith King is what she's been
Well,
playing.
she's going to complete the support path
okay.
on the quest because she bought a battle pass.
Good for her.
And she's learning Dazzle because she doesn't want to go into a game and have Lich get picked.
Hero to learn.
Her Graves have been pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Long cast point on that. If only the cast point on Grave was
she's
the same
aware
as
enough
Omni
of everybody's health. Like, she's watching everybody's health in maybe sometimes to the detriment of, like, her movement a little bit. But she is paying attention to their health enough that, like, the Shallow Grave goes on people when it needs to. Most of the time,
More than I can say about my Dazzle. My Dazzle's way more reliant on healing.
In fact, my only criticism of her Dazzle thus far is that I don't think she's comfortable spamming
Poison
weave.
Touch.
No, well, Poison Touch she uses appropriately. She gets like that. It's
a slow,
mostly a chase.
It's kind of like an initiator. It's kind of an initiation because the slow allows others to initiate.
It's an initiate kind of. I think it's more chase. I really think because it's really long range, and that slow is more important for chase.
Does she buy Earn?
She has been buying Earn lately.
Does she use her Earn charges?
She uses her Earn charges.
Nice.
She's getting more comfortable with it. The first time she picked it up, I think she was reluctant for a little while to pick it up again because I did that like criticize thing where I was like, it's way too late to get the Earn. Like I was like, it's way too late for that. She had like Guardian Greaves on the hero at the time, and then she got the Earn, and I was like, no, you can't. Yeah, you can't get it this late in the game.
But even man, it is an early. I mean, it's 825 gold for a reason.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And that's what I need to get into her head is probably like, hey, think about it like this way, like it's
price.
Tiered for a reason.
Yeah,
like
get
the Earn first.
Yeah.
But no, so this moment happened. I'm farming in lane as Medusa. We had a little bit of a cancerous lane, and I was not getting very many last hits. And we walked up to a creep wave, and the two off laners, the dual off lane, had finally left, and I was getting a moment to do a little bit of free farm. And she nuked a wave with Dazzle and took like 4 last hits right in front of me. And I said, "Hey," I was like,
that's such a hard thing because she's like, I'm healing you. Shut up.
Oh, no, it was intentional.
Oh.
I said, no, I needed that wave. And she said, yeah, but you've been missing last hits, so somebody should get them. That's what I got. That's what she said to me.
What monster have you created?
I was like, wow.
Like that. Those are the people I report in pubs.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. Like, it was really painful. Like, it was painful. Like, it hurt because I had already acknowledged, like, I already knew in my head, like, I fucked up like 6 last hits. And then finally
I've got 4 that I can get.
Yeah, I'm gonna get these. I'm gonna do this, and then boom, I see the wave get nuked down. And when I go to say something, she's like, "Well, you haven't been getting them."
Oh, she preemptively struck?
Yeah. Oh no, I was like, "Hey, I need that." She was like, "But you haven't been getting them. Somebody should."
That's like an insult sandwich.
Yeah, dude.
Oh like, man, like I knew you weren't gonna get them, so I took them.
Yeah,
because you're not getting any.
I was like, oh,
people say that to me, like when they're like, "You're not getting any last hits, so I'm an ogre mage, and I'm just gonna start auto attacking the wave down." And you're like, "Fuck you! That's just gonna perpetuate the problem."
Yep.
Oh man.
So I had that moment. It was entertaining. We won the game still, I think.
What did you say in response? Were you like, okay?
I was just like, I was like, it was a hard lane. Like I was in the moment, like I was heated.
How hard
and I was
could
already
it be on Dazzle? I live.
I was already self-conscious because like I was missing last, and like I had missed. There were like 3 opportunities where very clearly both she and I saw like I just attacked way too fucking early. And missed last hits. And like, yeah, it happened. Like I knew it was happening, and I was getting up in my head a little bit, and you got to wind down and just get back to farming.
When you get frustrated, I mean, I was watching Proud stream. Sorry, hold on one second. I'm gonna turn this heat off. Hold on.
I'll just keep talking so that we can kind of mask it. And if you fall back and die,
there we go. Hold on, sorry, I'm coming back.
Okay.
All right, so I was watching Proud stream because there's this Road to 5K thing going on, and like I said on the Friday show, I don't care who gets first, I don't care who gets second, I just need to make sure Ursi gets last. And I'm watching Proud play, and you could tell he was kind of getting flustered in the mid lane. And even as far as like 4,800 players, you see them miss last hits like. I'm watching, of course. It's easy for me to watch and be like, wow, you totally missed that last. You shouldn't have attacked then. Like, I could have even gotten that last hit.
Yeah.
But when you're in the moment and you're flustered and you're getting, like, spammed by this goddamn invoker, and it was cool because he was going up against an invoker, and on Friday we talked specifically how to deal with an invoker, and he was dealing with it just as it described, harass him, keep him on quas, keep him on quas, keep him on quas. And he was doing that, and he was verbally saying, I'm keeping him on quas. Thank God I'm keeping him on quas. But you could tell he was a little flustered, and he was missing last hits. And that's something that it's like, wow, even at, 2,000 plus more MMR, 2,500 more MMR than I have, they're still getting flustered.
Yeah, and it's obvious that it happens. I mean, even in pro games, you see it happen sometimes. I've watched plenty of pro games where I've watched pros miss last hits, where they were farming alone and missed a last hit. And I think that's something, definitely that happens less often in those situations than it does at our level or at Proud's level. But it does still happen, and it's obvious that, you can still get up in your head. You can still kind of psych yourself out. And, I know that there's an element, and maybe it's one of the elements of being a pro that we rarely get into and discuss, but part of being a pro or being good at any kind of game
is tilting your opponent.
Well, tilting your opponent and being able to deal with your own tilt and having a strategy to cope with it.
So StarCraft 2 has been coming up a lot because I've really been trying to think super in depth to ask Proud questions for Proudland. Like I feel like I've been doing the most constructive independent research on Dota 2 that I've ever done for Dota 2 since I've started playing, more so than even watching Purge videos, because I can get a cursory view, but I don't really understand what's going on in all of Purge's games unless he points it out. But for instance, harass in StarCraft 2 is extremely important, and that was to fluster the opponent. And it was low cost. Like you would take a medevac and a couple of Widow Mines, and you'd put them in their mineral field. And it's not doing a ton.
It sounds like something Donald Trump would talk about on a Access Hollywood.
It does, but it doesn't. It's not like it doesn't win you the game, but it just makes them have to spend more time on dealing with something that was very easy for you to do. Which, comes back to Dota all the time. When I have a Tide and I'm Spectre, and it's a Tide offlane and I'm Spectre, and he comes in and he anchor smashes me and then denies my ranged. Oh, I'm flustered a little bit now, and now maybe I'm gonna hit a creep earlier than I should have, or maybe I'm just gonna go straight for the range and kill the range, and then my equilibrium's fucked.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna do like that Tide, whether he knows it or not, he has now got in my head a little bit.
Yeah.
And if he continues to do it, now I'm just gonna start daggering and using all my laning mana.
And in our pubs, it's almost more important because there's this precipice that the game is constantly on for, I'd say the first 12 minutes of a game. There is so sometimes you get into a game and you hate somebody you're playing with right off the bat for a valid reason, or you find yourself getting along with somebody right off the bat for a valid reason, whatever. But with the vast majority of people you play with, you are always just on the verge of being psyched out enough to start hating the rest of your team, or the rest of your team to start hating you and start throwing that blame around that inevitably happens in a pub. Like, you're on that precipice for about 11 or 12 minutes.
Yeah, it's so funny. In StarCraft, you hated your opponent. And in Dota, you never hate your opponent.
No, it's usually your team. Like, it's you aren't assuming that the other guy is better, is just genuinely better and capable of getting
you'd be like,
over.
You cheesy fuck in StarCraft, and then you'd surrender. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, that fucking cheesy bullshit. He got here from cheese.
OP heroes. Like, maybe you get some of that in Dota still. I've definitely heard Wazoo be like, what the fuck is this hero design? What is the design of this hero? How is this appropriate for this game?
Basically saying, like
Slark,
didn't think about it or something like that. And
sure. But, regardless, like, I feel like you're always on that, like, there, and it's never discussed, but, like, it's your 12 minutes, your first 12 minutes of a game, if your lane goes bad and you start getting psyched out by things that are going on with the enemy, it will begin to spiral out of fucking control
into other lanes,
because other lanes are going to start going and looking at you dying and going, well, we've lost the game. Well, we lost that lane, we're losing everything.
And now mid's missing last hits because they're so focused on how bad you're doing.
Yeah.
And now mid's lost.
And they're stopping to type at you and be angry at you, or be angry, at somebody else who's losing their lane.
Or mid's rotating because he's like, I just have to fucking rotate now. And then mid dies in your lane, and he died because he had horrible positioning.
And I'll say, something I've been personally noticing is that when I'm winning, especially when I'm playing carry, which is most games, like, I've turned into that guy. Like Dota, you congratulations, you win. I'm that guy now. I go into the safe lane, and when somebody puts a safe laner down there, I go, I'm picking this no matter what. Like I'm just straight up. Like I'm gonna play. I'm farming. I'm getting into the good patterns. I'm gonna do it, and I'm winning more. But yes, some of that's because I'm playing less and spending more time than normal and acclimating to certain carries before I ever like go into a first ranked match for the day. But yeah, I'm that guy. And when I'm winning in those,
so you're uncompromising.
I'm uncompromising. Yes.
Okay.
When I'm in that position and I'm winning that lane, I spend the vast majority of my time talking at least one other lane down from the fucking ledge because we're losing at least one of the other two lanes.
I wish everybody just understood that 66%, and what I mean by 66% is if you win 2 lanes, chances are you're going to win the game.
Right.
So if your lane's going bad, please don't tilt the other lanes. Do damage control on your own lane. Damage control. And a lot of the times, it's as easy as 500 gold in Iron Talon. For damage control.
And I've been doing a lot of that just even on when I'm losing a lane.
And maybe even not telling them that you're losing your lane. Mitigate many times you die.
Here's the problem, right? And that's what people can't mitigate. What people can't mitigate, and this is dude, I take advantage of this all the fucking time playing carry now, and it's amazing how many kills you can get early on in the laning phase against enemy offlaners in 2K pubs. And that is the fact that if you do take advantage of them, and like I notice a lot with PA because I get to dagger harass, right? So I get them down super low. At our level, people don't buy enough regen to come into lane, and Rin is getting to a point where we are like super in sync when she's on Lich. And I'm just like, and she calls his Ice Blast bop. She's like, am I bopping? Who am I bopping? Who do I bop? Who do I bop?
That's cute.
And I'm like, you're gonna bop this character. This is always the character. We had like an IO lane the other day. We just dominated it. And I was like, listen.
Did you focus IO?
Yeah, and I was like, look, you gotta focus IO because he's always gonna regen the other guy, so we focus on the IO first. She's like, got it.
Bop it.
Bop, bop, bop.
Twist it. Yank it.
So, but when you take advantage of somebody, and so like what happened was we had that IO, and it was an IO Venomancer combo. And the Venomancer admittedly was like feeding his fucking wards because he wasn't leveling plague wards, but he was spamming the fuck out of them.
Oh, can I do a public service announcement real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Plague wards give experience. Just so you know, if you are launching plague wards and you leave them at level 1 and it takes me one last hit to kill them, you are not only giving me gold, but I am getting tons more experience.
And I had a Lich in lane, so I was getting a fuckload of experience that they weren't getting.
Just so you Venomancers know, they give experience.
So it was basically like I was solo laning versus this dual lane because of the shitty plague wards and the Lich denying every ranged creep and catapult that there ever was.
Oh, nice.
So I got a huge level advantage, admittedly, but like by like 3 minutes.
I'm gonna stop you again. Why was Lich not? So we talked multiple
We've talked
episodes
about this a lot,
the range support or about the range carry or about the ranged creep. Why do we not see more Lich? I wonder.
We are seeing more Lich. You're seeing him in pro games too.
I guess.
I feel like you are seeing more Lich.
Are we?
Yeah,
okay.
I think
Maybe
so.
it's just because I watched a lot of MDL and I can't remember. I think it's the randomization.
Well, and the big thing they're doing is, of course,
Lich's
denying the mid lane creep and then working your way into the safe lane. Because, denying that 90 XP to the mid lane, before it ever begins is huge. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and it's good to get on Lich, who usually solo gets
Lich
that.
Lich seems like maybe the most overpowered hero in the game right now, just because of sacrifice.
Early game.
Yeah.
But not necessarily late.
I guess I never really put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, that's why I pitched Ren and Lich to you all the fucking...
No, I know.
Because of that reason alone.
Since the change where... Do you know how much a catapult's worth? Experience?
I think 90 as well.
88.
88. Okay, so 2 less. But 2 less. I mean, I
know. It's not much, but
the extra gold it's worth, I still think makes sacrificing the catapult worth it over the...
Oh, very much so. But I was thinking catapults were like 180 experience or something like... Because it's a big thing that's worth a lot of gold, you know?
So, okay, so let me finish this.
So go ahead, sorry.
So the IO winds up being out of position. He makes a foolish move to the side shop, and the Venomancer's just too far away, and I just seen him use Tether. I tell her, all right, bop him now, we're going. She bops, I dagger, I blink strike, and we get the first blood. And then we turn on the fucking Venomancer because he hangs around like an idiot, and we get 2 kills. I open not only first blood, but a double kill right off the bat. Did 2K
you
pubs,
get both the kills?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
In 2K pubs, what happens is they come back to lane and think, because they are flustered, that the only way to get even in this lane is to get 2 return kills immediately.
Yeah. I mean,
and it forces people into
sure.
bad habits where they get out of position and they dive
and then take advantage of that.
And you just get to, and that's how you start to snowball. And so back to our conversation about, like, if you want to mitigate damage in lane, think to yourself logically when you die in lane, don't get flustered. You're going to die in a Dota game. How many have you ever, like, think to yourself honestly, like, let's have a honest moment, come
games,
to Jesus.
How many times have you died 0 times in one?
How
of
many?
Those? Maybe one of the 100
Maybe
games.
Maybe one. If you're a really great player, I'll give you 5.
Yeah. I mean, I recently had an Elder Titan game where it was the game of my life, and I still died once.
Right.
And yeah, granted, I had a 24 KAD because there's no division by 0, and 1 death or 0 death means the KAD.
Maybe that time that you died right there in the off lane is just the 1 death that you're going to have in the match where you go 20-1.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
But
it's just as likely that as it is.
I think Bristleback's a great example of what you're trying to paint, because as Bristleback, okay, I get into lane and I go aggro and I use all my mana quilling and the guy barely gets away and I die. And then what do? I come back in lane and I chase after that motherfucker because I died. He needs to die.
I gotta say though, Bristle's slightly different because what usually happens at our level is people take a lot of damage and they nearly died when you were Bristle. And they stay. And now they're out of mana, but you're back with full health and full mana, and you do a shitload of fucking stacking damage with your quills. Sometimes that is the best thing that happens.
I want to reiterate a couple things that were said on Proudland because you haven't listened to it. It's a long episode for people who haven't listened to it. It's actually, in my opinion, the best episode we've done because it's the episode that I've researched the most. But Proud was talking specifically about Skrunk and an idea that he does in the offlane of Sand King. And he says he'll feed himself sometimes to a tri-lane of Sand King early, because early kills don't really matter so much. What matters is if you die early and then you get a return kill later. So what he'll do is he'll expend all of his resources early, not use his regen on Sand King. And I'm talking level 1 early. Die, be back in 5 seconds, TP back, and now they're all hurt. They've used a bunch of regen, and he now has... and he's not playing flustered because he meant to die.
I feel like it's so dangerous to advise to
No, it's extremely dangerous. And there was a big Proud went into a big explanation for it. And so I'm not saying go into offlane and die right away. I'm not saying that, but it was a really interesting idea that was brought up where he went into the lane saying this is a tri lane, this is going to be hard. I'm going to go in, have them use as much of their regen as possible right off the bat. I'm going to burrow strike, I'm going to damage, I'm going to dive, I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm going to die, I'm going to come back, and now I'm going to play conservatively.
Yeah.
And I have all my regen and everything, and really all I gave up was 100 gold. You know what I mean? He said the addendum is don't give up first blood. He said, assuming that it's not first blood, go in, do as much as you can, die, come back. Don't do this at level 6. Don't do this at level 3. Don't do this at level 4. Do this at level 1 if you're going to do it. And only do it against a tri-lane. And yes, there's a million rules to go with this.
Yeah. Don't do that, guys.
Yeah,
no, but
don't do that. But
more importantly, I
thought it was cool, though, that
it is an interesting strategy, but it's like that. It's like the old, it's like the old killing yourself to a neutral creep when you're in the jungle to get the fast respawn, the fast regen, and after you bot out.
It's more making them use their spells and their mana and their regen. So when you come back, you can take advantage and you can get that return kill, which is worth more than the kill.
But it's one of those things where, how many times have you seen somebody either claim that they intentionally killed themselves to a neutral creep to avoid embarrassment, or killed themselves on a neutral creep but forgot to fucking buy out? You know what I mean? At our level, dumb shit like that happens. So I always worry about advising those semi-advanced techniques, like intentional dying. Intentional dying is an interesting thing, and it is an element in Dota.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time, and basically what I do is if I have 30 gold, I will, kite back and forth with the creeps until I have enough for a TP, and spend my TP, and then just kill me. Go ahead, do it. And that way I can get back with full health, full regen, and then get back into the jungle, and maybe I have a stout waiting for me and my mid needs the courier, and I needed that stout shield, or maybe I have something.
Right. I mean, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but you always buy out, you have 0 gold, and there are rules that you have to follow before you intentionally die.
Yeah.
And that's why, but I'm always reluctant to maybe discuss that if somebody at our level wants to try that kind of shit, it's very dangerous to do, because more often what happens is deaths lead to being flustered. And it's like, man, if I could rid just my teammates, and I try my damnedest to, at least verbally, if I could rid just my teammates of the necessity to get a return kill as quickly as possible after dying, I think I would reduce team deaths by 75%.
Yeah. Oh, and I'll tell you, just playing, I'll use Spectre as an example. I know that I kind of expect to die 4 times or so in laning phase. And that's a horrible thing to expect, and my reason for that is I die and they're going to stay and they're going to be low, and then I'm going to dagger and then I'm going to dive and hopefully get away, and then I'll have this salve and then I'll get back up and it'll be perfect and the lane's even again. And you're absolutely right. I think this topic that you brought up is like a buffet for thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's unlimited food for thought to think that just come back in lane and play defensive like you were going to anyway. Yeah, they may have a lead, but take advantage of the fact that when they fuck up again, when they say, oh, you were easy to kill, Spectre, I'm going to try and kill you again, take advantage of that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just be like, okay, I got killed. I got to come back. I got to play more conservative. It can't be, okay, I got killed, I got to even the score.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about evening the score to prove that you're just as capable,
that's kind of like
to
human
prove
nature.
It is human nature, 100%.
Like even the score, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's an eye for an eye. Like it's a very primitive instinct. And when you're playing Dota and you are getting wrapped up in the game, it's very easy to go back to those primitive moments.
How far you have come! I'm so proud of you. Like, that is such a simple but yet complex topic to bring up that I think will help me mitigate at least 2 deaths a game.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is like I see it. The reason I'll tell you where I noticed it was being against offlaners that I was killing. Like, I get it. Like, I see what they're doing. Like, they come back, and I tell Rin all the time, I'm like, all right, this guy thinks he wants to even the score.
That's so interesting.
And so we just wait. And
when did you have this revelation?
About 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I've just been, and dude, I shit you not, like, I'm climbing
it seems so
in solo,
fucking
and I'm seeing it all the time.
God,
I know
such
it's
an
there.
obvious thing, and most of the best advice I've ever received are usually really obvious things. They're not really complex things. They're usually really obvious, no-brainer, duh things.
Well, watch for it in your offlaners. Like, if you play conservatively as a safe laner, and you take advantage and you get that first kill, just watch your offlaner come back and run and charge at you. Just watch them.
And they'll probably even take a couple tower hits trying to even the score.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. 100% they will.
Wow.
All the time. I see it all the time.
I'm going to take so much advantage of that. And also, on the flip side, as an offlaner, now I know, like, oh, I'm Timberside, died, that sucked. Play safe, dude. Play a little closer to the tower.
Don't even the score, like, just get ahead.
Wait for your moment.
Yeah, wait for your moment.
Yeah,
that ain't your moment. Like,
please title this episode "Wait for Your Moment."
Wait for your moment. All right, fair enough.
Because it's not often that, and no offense, it's just not often that on this show I learn a super valuable lesson. Usually, it's more bullshitting, me tangentializing us talking about our Dota. But that is definitely a really good lesson, and that's something that isn't hard to think about even in a stressful moment. Matter of fact, that's going to lower my stress.
Well, because you're you have a respawn timer to talk yourself into the right strategy before you get back to the lane. That's what you have. Like,
and if you die again, don't say like, well, it's bullshit, I died again. Well, that just means that you need to play that much more conservatively when you TP back in.
Well, and maybe when you die that second time and you felt like you were playing conservatively, it's time to put your call out to your team and own up to it right away and say, hey, I need help in this lane. I'm losing. Like, it's going bad.
Draft. I mean, they definitely took advantage.
And just own it, and just own it. I think when people own shit, the other thing I notice is whenever I own it, when I die twice in a lane, or like when even like recently I owned a game where I picked up.
You owned, as in you mean you
took responsibility. I took responsibility for it. I played a game where. I thought I was going to be able to shut down an Alchemist mid. I can't remember who I was fucking playing. It was either OD or Viper.
You were playing with me.
Oh, yeah, and I told you, like, and I was like, man, like, I thought I was going to be able to shut down his farm. And
you know what? Admittedly, I didn't do anything about it. I was, what was I? I was something. I was safe lane or off lane, and I know that I was playing a role in which. Oh no, I was supporting that game because remember I was like.
Oh yeah.
And
I can't remember what
I could have rotated, but my whole thing was okay, just don't die and
right.
And then guess what happened? He turned into a fucking monster.
Yeah, and admittedly, like
even you owning it wasn't enough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Although in most games it should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think it makes people less pissed at you down the road to own those things because here's what I guarantee most people do when they decide who to pass the blame to. You hit that fucking score button up at the top and you look for whoever has the most deaths at that 11 or 12 minute mark and you go, well, this game's over. This douchebag's feeding in this particular lane.
GG, easy Slark. GG, easy.
That's where it goes down. So if you want to, even if you just want to avoid being that person.
It's just such a butterfly effect, too, because as Spectre, when people are like, GG, easy Spectre, and even if I'm streaming, I'm like, this guy doesn't affect me at all. Like, I am completely impervious to getting bad remarks about my play. You think I'm going to play worse because of this dumb fuck? Absolutely not. And then I subsequently die 5 more times. And honestly, it does. It does suck to have people call you out in a game. And I think if you just own it, and if owning it isn't enough, you mute it, and you just say, okay.
When I've owned it and I've put out a call for help, and somebody then subsequently starts to be a complete asshole, that's when you got to mute that person because you've done everything a reasonable individual can.
And it's not like these people don't have those games too.
Right. Everybody has those games.
Everybody, I mean, up to even Proud or the infallible Ursi still has games where they feed and die a lot. You know what I mean?
Well, all you have to do is yes, own it, yes, admit it, and realize that you can still win. Like everybody out there, the same people, we asked you to think about all the games where you never died. Now look back and think about all the games where you've had way too many deaths and you won.
I guarantee it's like 5 to 10 of your 100 games. And that's you begrudgingly admitting 5 to 10. I would say it's more like 25.
Yeah, where you've done terribly. And like I had one the other day where like I picked an OD and I know he was the right fucking pick and we wound up winning, but it wasn't because of me. And even though I came online super fucking late, like I wasn't the change maker.
But you did say comment me, right? You did say comment me.
Yeah, of course.
After?
Yeah, with a T, not a D.
Yeah, comment
because
me.
Because goddamn it, I know how
comment
to spell.
me. Comment me. Comment me. Oh, I hate it. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Anyway, I don't know. That's my Dota 2 cents. Plus, I'm at like 2160 now.
Yeah.
So
I'm well into the 23s.
I know that doesn't sound like a lot over being. I think I was like 2086 last time when we talked about this.
But 100 MMR in a week. I mean, if I
that's like 80. But I'm not playing that many ranked games,
dude,
anymore.
Let's just say we've been doing this podcast for 2 years, even though we've been doing it longer. Say we gained 80 MMR over 104 weeks. We would be miracle right now. Okay, you know what I mean? If we gained 80 MMR over a week, because
for 104 weeks,
52 weeks in a year, 104 weeks.
I would be 10k MMR.
We won't even count the change of that we've been doing this for a little over 2 years. We won't even count that change.
Yeah.
If we gained 80 MMR every week for 104 weeks, we would be the first to hit 5k. That's for sure.
And like I've had a loss or two. I lost my 11 streak with Dillanoid the other night.
You trusted me. You played Omni. I played OD, and you.
I had faith in my Dusa, and I couldn't pull it off versus a late game Alchemist Slark. I couldn't. Dusa wasn't enough to overcome it.
Did anybody build Diffuse? Alchemist build Diffusal?
No, the Slark did though.
Slark built Diffusal?
Yeah.
Smart Slark.
Yeah, well,
because that's usually not in his.
Not to mention the stacks that he was getting. I mean, you factor in the.
Well, he's just doing so much extra damage to you
and lowering my stats, and
The thing about Diffusal is it's good. Period. On in Agi carry, it's good. Period. But it's especially good against somebody who relies on their mana pool as part of their health.
Yeah.
So like Diffusal Blade is doubly good against the Medusa.
Brutal.
Yeah. Good for him. Like I'd like to shout out to that Slark for saying
it was a 70-minute game, so fuck him. That's what I says.
Well, usually Diffusal gets skipped over on Slark. You want to get that Scotty. You want to get that Abyssal.
I don't even think he went Scotty that game.
Yeah, I mean, good on him. I feel like that's a player that knows his hero well enough to say, I need Diffusal.
Yeah. And
fuck him. And you're having the right attitude because honestly, the people we should be mad at are our opponents.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Those are the people.
You know what? Yeah, the best. You want to know the legitimate best fucking Dota advice there is in the fucking world? That if everybody adhered to it like it was the golden goddamn rule, Dota would be a 10 times better playing experience for every fucking person is that little load screen where it says, don't make 4 more enemies than you already have.
Yeah. No, that is like the do unto others as you want done unto yourself.
And it's like,
rule for Dota.
Don't be an asshole.
Like, be mad. Like, in ally chat, be like, God damn it, this Slark is such bullshit. He's going this cheesy-ass build. We gotta stop him. And if you can get your team united to hate the enemy, then you're probably gonna win.
Yeah, maybe that's what we got to do is find a way to make all of our allies find that common enemy.
Yeah, and just be like, this alchemist is literally, he's voting for Trump. He likes to grab pussy.
Oh my God.
We hate him. Maybe that's what I'll start doing, is just start demonizing the enemy, just hardcore, you know what I mean? Yeah. To the point where...
I heard that Slark told Billy Bush he could do anything he wanted as an adjudicary.
Because it would help if we hated our teammate, or not our teammates, if we hated our
enemies.
Wow, I see. This is
not
how
our allies.
This is how ingrained it is, even in my brain.
Well, admittedly, like
it's to hate thy fellow neighbor.
I have
not
never
to hate thy fellow enemy.
And I will say, like, and it's what frustrates me, and what pisses me off about people from time to time is that, like, I genuinely don't feel like I've ever hated somebody that I played with unless they were being just rude or racist or bigoted or sexist or like there's some like,
or Trump for 2016 is their name or something like that.
We're not supposed to get political, especially right now.
Nope, it's our job. It's my job, at least.
I thought about bringing it up too, but I don't want to. I don't want to get into it. The man's ruining his own campaign. Let him.
And if he gets into that White House he'll ruin our country. That's all I'm gonna say. And he'll take Dota away from all of us.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, it's Hillary Clinton who is more of a threat to video games. If you're going to be an issues voter.
Well, nope. Because I'm gonna go ahead and say, fact check me. Go to Hillary Clinton's website if you don't believe what I'm gonna say. But Trump's gonna take away our Dota. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to. You could just say whatever you want these days.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
That's all we need to say.
Okay. We just lost 500 listeners.
I would lose every listener.
Oh no, you wouldn't.
Yes.
Oh, the things you say on the show.
You guys are fools if you vote for Trump.
No.
You are fools.
No. I'm not gonna go that far.
No, they're fools. I will.
Go that far.
I will.
I will. It does feel appalling to vote for the man. Sure. But,
whoa, 500 listeners down the toilet, Denny. What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
Come on.
It feels appalling, but that's me. You know.
I guess it's your choice as a dumb voter to vote for Trump.
No.
Okay.
No.
I guess it's your choice as an idiot to vote for Trump.
So, okay, the reason this is even coming up, folks, is because we are going to cut this episode just slightly short today
because we want to watch the debate.
It's
my duty as an American citizen to watch the debate.
And I would like to watch it too, and it's just getting juicier. And even if older Synody,
I want to see him grab a pussy. That's why I'm watching this. I just want to see him grab some pussy up there. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be a spectacle in the way that things have never been politically in the U.S. It feels like, or at least not for a long time.
There's no precedent.
Not for this kind of shit. And
is there a precedent? I don't think there is a precedent.
Not quite like this. Yeah. I mean, Ronald Reagan was a celebrity, but you can argue a very different type of celebrity.
And Ronald Reagan, say what you will about
and ran for governor and did
whatnot.
Things and.
Say what you will about even JFK and some of the stuff that JFK did, in his presidency and stuff like that. I feel like we are at a crossroads where it is just completely unprecedented what we're dealing with.
Yeah, it's just going to be juicy shit.
Just like it is completely unprecedented that the fucking ice frog made it so shadow poison doesn't do damage when I have 5 stacks. That's the real atrocity.
Real threat to America is the shadow.
Not America, but the world.
Yeah, you're right. On a global
The fact
scale.
that I have 5 stacks on Slardar and that doesn't get him out of the lane is bullshit. I remember when Ice Frog was talking to Billy Bush off camera and he's saying Shadow Demon can't be grabbing pussy anymore. You know what I mean?
We need to make Dota great again.
Yeah. We do.
Okay, look. All right, I'm done with all that political shit. But speaking of drama, because tonight's going to be drama enough.
We don't want transparency. Why would we want transparency in contracts?
I was just going to say that we were going to do a little headline news thing, but we'll try to get into it. We'll try to generate one maybe for the top of the Wednesday show. I suspect Ursi will want to get into it because he's a fan of getting into the drama.
Everybody, we don't need to see players' contracts. That shouldn't be out in the public so that people can completely take advantage of other people.
All right.
Just in the last week with Anna And with, I don't know, Anna is a little bit more suspect because he was a young kid and he had somebody advising him who was not a lawyer, who didn't understand the complexities of a contract and was dealing with a monster of an organization.
They're
which
like
is IG.
the 500 people that we lost like talking shit on Trump. We're about to lose another 500 who have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Which is basically the big news this week.
Do you know about Anna?
You told me about Anna when I came over here
first.
and brought up the Team Secret stuff, but basically Eternal Envy played with Team Secret, posted some information about the way Team Secret was handling payouts, taking cuts from player earnings, player winnings, failing to get sponsors, not being very
not
open or
necessarily
honest
failing,
with
but
the
saying
way
their sponsors aren't paying them money.
Right. And anyway, so
yeah.
There's a lot of drama surrounding all of that. It would be interesting to get into and to kind of dissect. Unfortunately, tonight we don't have the time because we spent way too long talking about Dota pubs.
I used to really not like Eternal Envy as a personality. Of course, you can't really argue with his play. Sometimes you can because, I think he's one of those pros that tilts. I think people can agree there for the most part. But I'm glad we have a whistleblower that high up because, God damn it, it's about time that the public, us, understand how these contracts work, because the only people that don't want transparency are the people taking advantage of people.
Yeah, it would be nice to see the players be protected and honestly probably unionized.
Yeah, there needs to be unionization, and the more whistleblowers like Eternal Envy that we have, the more calls for unionization there will be, and it is necessary, you guys. I know you guys think that no, we want to stay small. We don't think contracts should be public. Okay, there's a reason they're public in every other sport.
Well, I don't even think I don't know the nature of what we see from contracts with another sports, so I don't really want to talk that much about it.
So signed on for $125 million for 5 years. More
important is a centralized governing body over a sport that is semi-important, and even more important for the sake of players and protection in that regard is player unionization. Those types of things are, the reason people have unionized in any industry, historically speaking, is because they were being exploited in those particular industries
by people who don't want transparency.
Right. And if that is something that is an issue within the Dota 2 community, it seems like unionization would be a viable, natural, logical next step. That being said, I don't want to get too much into it because
I want to say is
the issues that people have with mainstreaming Dota.
Honestly, with this, I honestly after reading this, Team NP in Envy's team, I've thought a lot about sponsoring and giving a hefty amount of money toward his organization just for the sheer fact that he's willing to be transparent. Because if he's going to spearhead the transparency movement, I believe in Eternal Envy enough because I know his discipline in Dota, that I know that he will become a great Dota player, and I know that his team will have some success. Maybe it'll take a while. Personalities have to meld, and you have to form a team and whatever. But I would love to put my money where my mouth is and be one of those people that says, hey, look, if you're willing to share how your players are getting paid, and I understand some players are worth more than others. Same thing in basketball. Yeah. Same thing in football. Same thing pretty much in any other sporting arena. That's something that I've thought a lot about as far as I can talk about making this professional. I can talk about making this more professional. But until I put my money where my mouth is, I think that's what makes the big difference.
Well, I'll leave that to you to decide. But I just want to say the reason we shouldn't delve too much into all that kind of hyperbole surrounding it all is that the alternative side to avoiding mainstreaming Dota and whatnot doesn't really have anything to do with contracts, with player contracts.
No,
that's not a concern. I think that most people genuinely all believe if you're going to try to legitimize esports, if you're going to try to legitimize Dota 2 as with within esports even, and make that a viable career option for certain people, which would be an awesome thing. Some level of transparency, or at least some level of protection for players so they don't get screwed, so they can keep doing that and we can keep having an entertaining scene, whether it's mainstream or not, is important.
It is important for the longevity. I want my kid to be able to watch esports on TV. Sure. That's a big thing for me.
And I none of the all this stuff sounds so, and I maybe it's just because
somebody needs.
Maybe it's because I'm an old man, I guess.
But it's unfortunately we need experienced people to come in and say, "Hey, look, enough of this shady bullshit, okay?
Yeah.
Enough of this shady goddamn bullshit where you're putting enormous amounts of money in the hands of people who have no idea how to take care of it. And you know what? Immediately when reading Eternal Envy's thing, what I thought of was that Kamal guy giving us the video tour of Team Secret's new house in wherever the fuck it was. And like, here's a Roman bath. Here's a steam. Here's, this, here's that. And I'm thinking, well, where's that money coming from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now, and back then it was like, well, Team Secret's just successful. And, and I was just kind of like blinded by like the brand until you read this article and you think, where is that money coming from?
Yeah. And we'll find out. We will inevitably find out what's going on.
And I think it's,
and this situation will inevitably correct itself, or
somebody needs to come out from the organization and say, hey, look, here's our side of the story. And the fact that they didn't almost immediately means that, like, it's kind of the same thing back to politics, why Trump doesn't want to release his tax information. It's like, obviously something shady is going on because they didn't post a reply immediately.
And again,
I'm going to take the Hillary stance and
no,
say,
you got to be careful. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end
why
this
do I care, dude?
Because
it's my opinion. My opinion doesn't
right,
reflect the
enough.
opinion of defense of the patients,
Yes,
okay?
fair enough.
All right, like my opinion is not the opinion of everybody on Defense of the Patients. My
yeah.
opinion is Roland's opinion.
Fair
and
enough.
if we don't, as a scene, get a response from Team Secret proper and Matt, the master patch eviscerator, apparently he's being abused and whatever. I mean, the whole rage video where Puppy throws his headphones into the monitor, that didn't bother me in the slightest. We all get mad at Dota 2. I've broken keyboards. I've broken mice. I understand the rage element, okay? That doesn't make me mad. What makes me mad is taking somebody else's hard-earned money and abusing that. And we can end it there.
No, yeah.
The video, I feel like, is harmless. Whatever. He threw his headset at a monitor and it broke. I don't give a shit. That's his right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe it just means that's somebody you don't want to hang with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. He got angry at a video game. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? What I give a shit about is the shady bullshit that's going on, and that everybody is supporting this shady bullshit because
I think that video is just meant to like paint a broader picture.
I don't even.
You know what I mean?
I don't even care. I don't even know if Puppy's a malicious individual. All I know is that whatever's going on with Puppy,
it's certainly being used at least that way. But regardless,
it can end. Yeah,
it's there is a lot of interesting stuff there. If you are interested in what's happening, you can go check it out.
Dota ticks, dude.
Yeah,
So
go check it out if you're interested in the latest Team Secret.
It was a really long article, but I
esports
read
pro
every
drama.
word.
Yeah, it was lengthy. I didn't even get all the way through.
I read the entire thing, and Audrey's like, "Get out of bed," and I'm like, "When I finish this article, I'll get out of bed." And I'm just on my phone, just reading it.
An hour and a half later.
Yeah, it took me a good 40 minutes.
All right. We're gonna be late. We're gonna be late for the debate. All right.
Okay.
So if you want to find us, we're at. Oh, and I know we were supposed to read reviews, and I almost pulled them up, but I knew we weren't gonna have a lot of time. We already have run longer than we have, so please tune in next week. There are going to be more iTunes reviews. We're going to do the Canadian and the European and the UK reviews first up. Those are what we're going to get to, and some of them are a little bit older, and they're kind of funny to read given where we're all at now. So tune into us at defenseofthepatients.com, at @p_show on Twitter. Search Defense of the Patients on iTunes, Stitcher, all your favorite podcast apps. And as mentioned, leave us a review or tell a friend. Those are the two best ways that you can help, spread the word about .p and help us grow and help our community grow. And it's been awesome. I've been seeing a ton of new people pop into the Discord and hey, at Cyphus, at Roland, at Ursi, at Proud, at Flub, at Wazoo, at whoever their favorite show hosts are or favorite shows are. Saying, hey, I'm joining the community, and it's been cool to see everybody and be able to say hello and actually kind of greet everybody and have a conversation.
And I do have to do some shout outs real quick.
Okay.
This is something I was supposed to do last week. So big shout out to Cap and Sleepy Paws, Silence, Edge, all these guys. They're a great community. Fafnir is their hero. And it's awesome. Fafnir is the dude for them. They brought me in and they're like, "Hey, I want to talk about .p," and I'm like, "Let's just play a game, dude." And they're like, "No, Fafnir is great." And I was like, "Oh, really? You think so?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's awesome. This and this and that." And then next shout out to Top Gun Betamax. I met you in Seattle. I'm so sorry. So there's this guy that pops into the stream, Top Gun Betamax, looks super familiar, and I realize I look over to my right and I see his fucking signature, and I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, I'm so sorry." And he's like, "I'm kind of quiet," and I was like, honestly, I felt like anxious at our meetup too. Like there were a lot of people, and like it was like I kind of wanted to go hide. Like at some points, like I was like, oh, like this is like. Because
we're kind of introverted, and I was still smoking at the time, so I just go out onto the street and smoke a cigarette, and then come back up. And
he's friends with Shrek 2 on DVD.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah, and I talked at length with Shrek.
And he pointed out the fact that people can't donate via Twitch right now because we need to authorize some things.
Yeah, and we're gonna fix that.
And then he went ahead and donated $20 a month to Patreon. So big shout out, dude. You enjoyed the funniest stream. It was the most fun I've ever had streaming, and Top Gun was there the whole time.
Awesome.
Super cool guy. Also, the Captain Sleepy Pause Silence Edge group, they have their own Discord channel. There's a lot of .p folks in there as well. And they're just a cool fucking community as well. God damn it. Edge was the big takeaway for me there. He's ex-military, now is working kind of like an office-y job. And it's just... He's like, dude, like this community resonates exactly with how I want to play Dota. He's like, it's a game. I like to play with my buddies. Like, I don't take it too seriously. And he's like, the way .p handles things is the way it should be handled.
Yeah.
And he's just like, thank you. And I was like, don't thank me. Thank the community that built up around it, because I certainly didn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just to further the shout outs, Fafnir and Blackheart, who like hardcore manage that Discord. They do a great fucking job. And Fafnir is doing replay reviews if you guys are interested. I think he's got a backlog at this point of people that want to do it.
Long.
But, you can still hit up the subreddit. He's
pumping them out, though. He is.
Yeah, and he is. And I think he said he was going to try to do 2 a week. We told him, it's like, hey.
We're late for an important debate.
Yeah, I know. But,
Yeah, I know.
Fafnir, you're awesome.
Yeah.
If you guys want to, go to the subreddit, our Defense of the Patients, and you can see the feed or the comment thread there about getting replay reviews done. Of course, if you're in the Discord, you can always try
and shout out to Flub with 2 B's.
At FlubDota with 2 B's on Twitter. Yeah.
And also shout out to Proud. Personal thing, Proud is a really good guy, you guys, and a very good personal friend. And he, I don't know, I've never really had as real of a conversation. It was just, I don't know, just... That's more for Proud, but shout out to you, dude. Like, you're my main man, brother.
And more episodes of Proudland to come. Tomorrow, of course, Try Hard Tuesdays with Wazoo and Flub. Wednesday nights are in-houses at 9 p.m. Eastern every time. Sorry, Grouty, that I forgot. I was so tired, dude, and I got home and I was like, I can finally fucking play Dota because I have nothing to record right now because you were handling Theorycraft Thursdays later on that night. And I was like, I've been having fun. I'm gonna hop on the stream, and I started streaming, and I was like 20 minutes into a game, and Grouty's like, could the in-houses have the stream now, please?
Oh my god!
And I was like,
I was at school and I saw that, like, God, now that Cyphus is off, we can start the stream. I didn't realize that it was that way.
Yeah, I felt bad. Funny. Anyway, but so yeah, tune into those, and thanks to Grouty for handling all that kind of stuff. Jay Gusher for the subreddit.
Go to the Patreon. It's been changed. There's going to be more changes to come with the Patreon. It's not perfect yet, but we're going to get it there. And any reward that you paid for now will be honored, even if tiers
we end up
change.
Changing it a little bit.
So
we might.
The changes might come. So if changes do come, if you get in now, we will honor that price, is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
but anyway,
right.
Come on, we need to go.
Okay, that's going to be it, folks. I'm sure I forgot something. YouTube.com/.ptv. There we go. .ptv1.
Yep.
Twitch.tv/.ptv. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for following along with all these tangents. Thanks for dealing with our political bullshit. And yeah, we're sorry.
It's not our political bullshit.
We're excited about
all of our political bullshit.
Well, I'm excited about the race. All right, I'm excited about the debate. Me too. Until next time, this is Cyphus for Roland Trump saying good luck.
Roland Trump, no.
Oh wait, good luck.
Rollery Clinton, dude. Rollery Clinton. Okay. All right.
Fair enough. Good luck.